Hello everyone and welcome to this Power BI Lunch and Learn session. So we're here, season 3, episode 4, and we've got such a great session for you guys today. We've got the likes of Adi Christie, our special guest, who we'll introduce in a second, going over how to embed a Power App within Power BI and right back to Power BI. And then we've got Lewis Holmes coming up after that. But before we start, I've got a few announcements, and let's go through some of these announcements that I want to share with you guys today. So to begin with, just an overview of what we've got today. So again, as I mentioned, we've got Adi Christie, and it's so interesting when you have the ability to write back to a Power BI report, and there's so many different scenarios that you can have when using writing back to Power BI, and so many different variations of it. And Adi's going to take us through a really good session today. After that, around 1 o'clock, we have excuse me, Lewis Holmes, who's recently bought the DAX patterns book from some guys called Marco and Alberto. So he's been reading through that, and he's going to go through calculating financial exchange rates and the most efficient way, and a nice way to do that as well. Okay, and then we'll finish off later on with an overview on what's to be expected in the next session. Okay, some quick updates. Power BI October update, key features have been released. You've probably seen some posts about it on LinkedIn and elsewhere, and the videos. But I just wanted to go over some of the key features that has been released this time round. So there's a canvas watermarks, which these are helpful tips to start creating a sort of Power BI report. So instead of having a blank canvas on your screen, you've got some little icons now to watermarks to then help you get started, especially if you're new to Power BI as well. You've got your personalized visuals. So the personalized visuals, where online you can change it to your own particular visual. I mean, we know that Ben doesn't like that, but I love it. The ability to change a visual to your preference. The ability to do that is now generally available. So whereas it was in preview before, it's now GA. Now, another exciting preview feature that's come out this month as well is the dynamic mQuery parameters. Now, if you remember last episode, I took you through web scraping, and I created some parameters which you then passed into the URL and then downloaded a load of data from the report. Now, the mQuery parameters for end users is available, so the end user on the front end can pass those parameters in, ad hoc as well. So we can make that available for the end user to be able to just get the data they need at any particular time, which I think can be really powerful and will be powerful. And that's out in preview, so I'm looking forward to playing with that soon as well. There's the automatic table detection for Excel. So if you have named ranges and other bits and pieces in Excel, sometimes it doesn't pick it up always, but there's now an automated table detection for that, and especially for JSON files as well. So in JSON files, sometimes you have to sort of connect to the JSON link, and you have to convert it to a table and then import your data. But now it all automatically flattens those lists for you as well now. And then another cool feature which I've never used before, but HoloLens 2. So essentially it's putting a sort of a VR headset on and being able to sort of see reports, through a VR, in front of your sort of face there. So there's a new version of that being updated, and the video of it looks quite cool as well. And if anybody gets the chance to play with that or to use it, I want to know about it. So make sure you get in touch. Okay. Next week, we've got a introduction to DAX session coming up. So we've got Lewis Holmes, our resident. He'll be running that session. There's still some places left, so if you want to get involved in that, if you visit our website, powerbi.support.co.uk/events, all the details will be on there for you. Cloud2, our sponsor for season 3, currently have a Power BI vacancy on their website. The link is there, cloud2.co.uk/careers. If you're interested in perhaps pursuing a career in Power BI or looking to move to the next level, definitely Cloud2. They're a gold partner, Microsoft gold partner, working with a lot of sort of cool technologies and a lot of sort of Azure and online sort of tool sets there, including Power BI and the Power Platform suite as well. Okay, so get onto their website and have a look at that. LinkedIn Stories This is something that I heard about a while ago, but there's now stories that you can get on Facebook and Instagram and other places. There's now LinkedIn stories, which I'm going to start doing, which I started doing this morning. But you can only sort of view it via the mobile app as well. So have a look at that. I should be sharing sort of quite regularly as well. So hopefully, send me your comments and likes on that as well. Okay. Our competition's live, so if you haven't heard about it, we're currently running a competition where you can apply and get involved at powerbi.support.co.uk/competition. Some great prizes available. The deadline is next Wednesday. We've already had some really good entries in, for the session as well, some really good analysis. But you've still got some time. If you want to get involved, you can still get involved for free and take part in this session as well. What you also get is a mug, so you can see. There's a picture of a mug from Cloud2 as well. I did ask for a picture of the mugs to be sent across. First instance, I got a picture of Man United Football Club, but I had to go back and then get the actual mug picture there. Okay, so let's bring on the guest all the way from Bucharest in Romania to riveting Reading. We've got a Power Platform developer, a freelance developer, and working for Multiplex in London. And he likes to play football. He likes to walk the dog. He loves eating. I mean, who doesn't? So let's bring on Adi Christia. Adi, are you there?
I am, Sheb. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Good.
The likes of those likes are not necessarily in the right order, though.
Are they not in the right order?
It might be eating first. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah. Eating sounds good. I mean, who doesn't like to eat? Hey. So how is it in Reading at the moment? What's the weather like? What's it like there?
Sunny. It's sunny. It's not. It's just. It's awful. It is awful.
Yeah. Oh goodness me. Well, would it be better in Romania at the moment, or what would it be like there?
I don't think so. Romania has 4 seasons. Well, it used to have. I left. I don't know anymore. Yeah, it used to have 4 seasons. So this is the fall season when it rains a lot also. So
good. And have you? I'm guessing you've started to build your report for the Power BI competition that we're running. Who's your favorite team?
The reason I haven't is because I don't want to get the prizes. I would like to leave the prizes for others.
For other people. That's it's very considerate. But thank you for that. Right. So if you'd like to share your screen, let's get started, because I'm really excited to see your session. I won't give too much details away about it, but if you share your screen, and then I can share that for you, and you can take the floor and get started.
Let me.
Whilst you're sharing that, who is your football team?
I don't really have one. I like watching football, but I don't really support someone. Okay. I like to be, I don't know, to watch.
Neutral.
Yeah, neutral is better, because yeah, especially in the UK, the football world could be quite what's the word? Intensive, let's say. Yeah. All right, I'll share my screen now.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
Let me. Can you see my?
It's coming through in a second. Okay, yeah, it's on screen, Adi. Yep, off you go.
Alrighty. So hopefully you don't see my shared removed my face from the presentation, because I'm going to present on the screen. So yeah, hi, I'm Adi Christia, and we're going to talk today about how to use Powerups in Power BI to modify and add data. Not many slides, only 4 points, so it's going to be a short introduction of me. I don't think you are here for that. Then we're going to talk about exactly what entering data in Powerups means, and also we're going to have a demo, and at the end Q&A if you want. So yeah, a bit about me. So as I said, my name is Adrian Christie, Adi for short, for friends. So yeah, please call me that. I work as a Power Platform developer at Multiplex, which is a construction company in London. I also do freelancing on Upwork and other platforms, but this one is the biggest one. I've been doing Power Platform for a while. I started with Power BI 2017. And yeah, we moved to the UK from Romania 6 years ago. Hence the bottom left heart. So I'm both a Romanian and a British citizen. So yeah, you have the LinkedIn profile link there and my Twitter handle. Although I don't really use that Twitter that much, but if you send me a message, I'll see it and I'll reply. Enough with about me. Let's move to the important stuff. So yeah, Power Apps in Power BI. First of all, what is Power Apps? So Power Apps is part of the Microsoft Power Platform suite. You already know, obviously, you're experts in Power BI, which is the business analytics tool. And Power Apps is the kind of the application development tools, which allows you to build applications and share them in the company and outside. There are other tools like Power Automate, which automate your processes. It has like 360 plus connectors, but you can build your own connectors to get data from different sources. And then you kid on the block, which is the Power Virtual Agents bots that are providing information to your customers or even your employees. So again, on Power Apps, you can build the apps and they can be viewed and used in on Android, on iOS. You can use them on your desktop or on your tablet or mobile. So it's quite a good tool to use, and you can do it everywhere. Now, what we are going to do today is to connect to a database, which we are going to connect via direct query. So you know there are two ways of connecting, which one is import and the other one is direct query. Direct query is not supported by every single database. For example, SharePoint doesn't allow it, but SQL, in this case, we're going to use Azure SQL. However, there are loads more. I put a link in the chat. If it's not there, just let me know. I'll do it again. But this is where you can go and check if the database you are looking to use allows direct query. Basically, direct query is just connecting to the data. You don't import anything. Once something is being edited or modified or added in the database, it gets back straight away, and you can see it. And that's what we are going to use. So moving on, the demo. Yeah, so the scenario today, we just try to put it into context. You can use it at pretty much anything. But what we are going to simulate today is in constructions. After, let's say, an apartment has been built, a site manager will have to go in and check all the things are in the right place, like all the switches are there, or the lights or sockets, or the plumber has done a great job actually putting the pipes and making sure they are right. So we're going to simulate that. When you have a Power BI report, obviously you can see data about it, but you can't add anything. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to have like a site manager going on site, and if there are any issues with the lights, they are able to put some notes and call the electricians to check the sockets or the plumbers. Enough with the slides. Let's just actually move to the to the Power BI report. So we have this Power BI report. Hopefully you can see it, which is basically what I said. It's a list of items that the site manager has to look through. So again, this can be in a on a tablet, and then the site manager will just go to the bathroom, see if all of these items are at the right place and everything. And definitely they can choose to see only the items in the kitchen. But the problem is in this report, you aren't able to say, oh, I don't know, let's find something that is not. So for example, the hanger in the hall doesn't have 3 hooks. So how do I report this? Obviously, we do have the add a comment option, but add a comment will add a comment for the whole visual, not particularly to this item. So this is where Powerups comes in handy. So what I have on the right part of the report is a Powerup, which basically has the same items as in the table here. And when we filter something in the report, it's being filtered in the Powerups also. So for example, if the site manager goes in and checks what happened with the lights, all the lights have been placed and all the items have been checked, all right, then I don't have to do anything. That's done. But then goes to socket, for example, sockets, and it says, well, no one checked this, so I have to probably call a contractor, and they have to go through this. And then contractor comes using the very same report, but what they can do now is, okay, I went to the hole, which is this one, and I checked it. I want to mark it as passed. I will just put yes. If you need to put any observations, let's put all good. So we don't like many words. And I would like you to look at this part here where it says passed and observations. Once I click submit, hopefully straight away comes back, says yes, all good. So we can go through all of these items and put comments. And as I said, this is just a scenario, but you can, I don't know, in the business world, for example, if you have risks and issues, you have a list of risks and issues, and you want people to go in and add comments on why this is a risk or how to mitigate or how to fix this issue. You only need the Power BI report because you will have the Powerups embedded in it. So yeah, that's how it's done. Now, what we thought is, yeah, we talked about it. I've showed you how it works and how you can add stuff, but maybe we can actually build one from scratch. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna connect to a different database and build like a really ugly but functional report. And I'm gonna go through all the items very quickly. So if you want to sit down and go through it in your own pace, maybe check the recording afterwards. And if you have any questions, just put them in the chat and we'll take care of them at the end. So without further ado, my favorite database is a database that I call Animals. Unless you're a farmer, I don't think you'll be using this in the business world, but you get the idea. So yeah, basically we have a table with 3 animals, and what we are trying to do is add the Powerup. With the October version, they've changed the icon for Powerups. It used to be a purplish. Now it's different, but you can find it. The Powerups visual is usually the last one in the list. So if you click on that, it will add it to your canvas. I would recommend to move it somewhere where you want it and make this, increase the size or lower the size, because this is going to be how the app is going to look. So yeah, now we have a blank Powerups. So how do we actually add or create a Powerups? So what we need to do is, with the Powerups visual selected, just add all the fields in the table you want to use. And obviously, when there's a live session, it's gonna time out a bit. Oh, come on. It worked great in testing, Shep, can you see my screen? Just stop there.
Yeah, I can see screen. It's just yeah, it's whirring and trying to do its thing.
Come on. So yeah. But yeah, so again, we have to choose the fields we are going to use. I definitely recommend choosing the primary key of the table you're going to work with, because that's that is what is going to tell Powerups which item you own. What's happening here?
Yeah, so it uses that unique ID to then find the unique ID in the database.
Yeah,
and
so
yeah.
done. Beautiful. Thank you very much, Powerups. So as I said, select all. I will select all of them. Although in my app, you'll see I will not use ID. For example, in this table, we don't use ID, but ID is the primary key. So I'm going to use that. Make sure you choose the right environment if you have more than one in order to build your app. And then you have the option of choosing an app you already created. This usually happens when you create an app and you're trying to edit it. So you delete the visual and you want to put it in another place, and you're choosing an app you already created. But what we are going to do is create a new one. So when we click that, hopefully we get a dialog saying I will open a browser with Powerups. And whilst we are waiting for this, usually it's pretty quick, but because this is live, as you already know, things happen. So yeah, I'm not going to go through everything that's on the screen, like what these parts of the screen are used for. I'm just going to go through creation of the app because Luis is waiting for the second part of the session. So first of all, I would like to see a layout, more information. So I would choose a different layout, and we can see we have the animal, the color, and the location. I'm just going to make it a bit smaller. Then we need to connect to the actual database that Power BI is using. So in my case, it's a SQL Server. And when I connect to it, I have the animal, and you can see the site manager one that was used for the app you saw, for the report you saw earlier. So we are connected to it, and then we're gonna use a form, which is the one that Powerups provides in order to modify data. And currently it's empty, so we have to connect it to a data source. You see data source is none, so we're gonna connect to the animal one, and again is empty. That's because we haven't added any fields. So once we click add fields, we have the option of selecting the columns. So I'm going to select the animal color, age, and location to this, and straight away the form is populated. That's done, almost done with the form. I'm going to add two buttons, and I'm going to tell you why. So one on the right, one on the left, and this one is going to be called new for when we want to create a new item or one new animal. And then the other one is save, which saves whatever is in this form. Now, in order to so as you can see, the onSelect property for the new button is false, which means it doesn't do anything. So we have to make it do something, and the formula is new form 1. Not the best naming convention. I would definitely recommend you rename your controls, but for the time, we don't have that much time, so we're gonna skip. Save. It's a pretty similar. So saving means whatever is in this form, we need to submit that. And you guessed it, there's a submit form action, form, yeah, function. But now, if we only let submit form, it will save that. It will definitely save the data back to the data source. But what it won't do because as you can see, the data source for this whole, let's say, this whole app is Power BI integration. And what we want is straight away after we add or modify an item, we want that to go back to Power BI. So in order to do that, we have the Power BI integration refresh. I'd also like to refresh my my data source, which is in this case is DBO animal. And is there anything else? Yes, reset the form just to have the default action. Now, if I play, there's a play button here. If I play this app, you can see there's no item to display, although we did choose the source for it. So if I go back to the form, we have data source, it's animal. So why don't we have anything in here? There's a property or an attribute of this form called item, and this is the one that actually displays. So what we want to do is we have gallery one, which is this gallery here, dot selected. So whatever we select here, we want it be shown below. So if I select horse now, or if I select elephant, they are shown here. And we have one more thing, but we're going to do it afterwards. So now we are done. We're going to save the app. We can choose any icon you want. I'm just going to choose this one and green. And we're going to call it Lunch and Learn app and save. Save. Do I have another one? Let me just a second. Yeah, I can't see the save button. Now I can. Cool. So now it was saved. If we go back to our Power BI report, straight away we'll go, oh, I have a new app. I'll bring it on here. And you'll see it looks exactly the same as our app. If you select elephant, it will filter the table also. Now, what we need to do, we need to publish this. I'll publish it to the service in my workspace, and then I'll show you how it looks. Done. Hopefully it did it. Okay. So now, when we open the report, straight away, same. Again, it's ugly, I know, but we are only looking for functionality now. So let's say elephant just had its birthday, it's 37 now. Look here, it says elephant gray, 36 wild. Once I save it, 37 straight away. No, it can only be impacted by your connection, obviously. And if we want to add a new one, I'll add a sheep, which is white, and it's just 3 years old and domestic. And again, here in location, it's a text box. You can type anything you want. As I said, you can use it for risk and issues or any other scenario you might think of. Let's save it. You can see it's going back to the data source. Again, is because the connection is not that as good as I would want it, but straight away after it finished, sheep appears here. And if we select it, we actually realize it's 4 years old. Save, it's 4 years old. So that's it. One thing we didn't do is how do we delete stuff. So if you want to do this, I don't know how much time do I have. How much time I have?
Just to finish off in the last couple of minutes now.
Okay, it's going to take like 30 seconds. So if I go to our Power BI desktop report, and if we go here and edit, you'll see we get the same dialog again. It will go back. It will tell me it needs to override. Yeah, because I already have it open, but I want to override. I need to close this. And it will open the same application. And now on this one, I would like, and instead of selecting, I would like to remove an item. So where do we want to remove it from? We want to remove it from data source, which is DBO animal. What item do we want to remove? This item, which is the first option. So it's straightforward as this. Again, we need to refresh Power BI and the source data. And I would like to change the icon to a bin. And then save, publish the app. That's it. And we go back to our report, go back here. It will not be refreshed straight away here, so you will need to close and come back to see exactly that. But if we publish the app to the Power BI service, it will tell me it needs to, yeah, obviously there's a data set already there called LNL start PBIX. And let's go back to it. And we have the same table, obviously same data, and we don't want ship anymore. Remove it, it's gone. That's it. I think that's pretty much it. Any questions?
Wow, Adi, that was amazing. I mean, you've literally built a Power App, you've built a Power BI report, you've connected them together, and now you're writing data back to the database within 20 minutes.
Yep.
Yeah, great presentation. I mean, we've got loads of questions coming through at the moment, so I'll go through them, a few of them just now. So we've had a few about external users. So is this available to external users once you sort of publish it? Can external users do the same thing?
Yes and no. So Powerups has it has a different type of licensing than Power BI.
Okay.
So in order to share it externally, you have to provide them a license in your tenant, or they have to have one. So it's not like Power BI where you have premium and everyone can use it.
Yeah.
So that's for external. In terms of internal, you don't have to have anything special. Let's say it's just if you have a Powerups license and you have a Power BI license. Obviously, for Power BI service, you have to have Pro. But if you have that, then that's it.
Okay. Someone said about they said if they had an import mode switched on rather than a direct query, will it still work, or how will that work?
Yeah. So import will still work, as in you definitely can. All the stuff we built here, they will be deleted and they will be edited, but they will not come back. That's the thing. So you have to refresh manually the report. Obviously, in the desktop, you can do that, but in Power BI service, you don't really have that option.
To wait for the schedule refresh. Yeah,
exactly.
And just to confirm from a couple of people, these are actually updating data back to the SQL database, for example.
Yes.
Right back to the source. So it's updating the data in the source database once you click OK or click update on that Power App. Is that right?
Yeah. So because we connected this form here with the database, you saw we connected to DBO animal. What it does, it goes to the SQL server, updates it there, and because of the Power BI refresh, it then sends it back to Power BI. That's the reason we can see it straight away.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And how does it look in the relationship manager in terms of when you import it? Does it affect it in any way in terms on the desktop?
It doesn't know about it. I'll just move here. It doesn't know about it. It's just direct query. Has no idea about it.
Okay, cool. Right. Well, I think I'm officially wowed. Thanks for that, Adrian. There's some questions. If there's any more questions for Adrian, please send them through to the Q&A section. He'll pick those up and go through those whilst Lewis goes through his session. But thank you very much, Adi. That was a really nice presentation from you there.
Thank you very much,
okay,
guys.
so swiftly on to Lewis Holmes. So Lewis Holmes, as I mentioned before, has picked up a DAX book and he's been excited about it and he's been wanting to share it with everyone. And he's saying, Sheb, look, I want to share this. I want to talk about this. I said, okay, Lewis, look, just calm down. Look, let's just do a DAX pattern and you can go through it. on the Power BI Lunch and Learn this week because Ben is not here. So he's decided to look at some financial rates or FX rate updates and how you can efficiently put something in place for that. And I think he's got something extra as well. So Lewis, are you there?
Yes, Chef, I'm here. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you doing?
Super today, thank you.
Good, good. Well, if you'd like to share your screen, we can get started. And how's your book so far? Have you been all the way through it, or are you still working your way through it?
I'm still working my way through it. I've picked out the best examples so far.
Yeah, yeah. And you mentioned that it was heavy on time intelligence, was it?
Yeah, the first half of it, I would say, is all about data and time intelligence. So if you have any issues with that, it's good. The book, by the way, is DAX Patterns by Alberto Ferrari and Marco Russo. But it's not
right, yeah.
It's anything. I don't have an Amazon link to give you. You can find it, but it's good.
I'm sure I'll be fine. People will be able to find it. But yes, your desktop is live, you're live, so off you go.
Cool. So I'll just crack up Power BI. Yeah, so for those people who haven't met me before, my name's Lewis Holmes. I'm a business intelligence consultant. Been working all things data for about 10 years, specifically the Microsoft stack, really. And today I want to show you something around foreign exchange rates that I got from this book and from my own experience as well, actually. So looking at Power BI, and I was testing this morning, and the first thing I noticed that it's all different now, it's all changed, which isn't helpful on the day of a presentation, but let's hope all the buttons are roughly where they were. So yeah, I want to do some exchange rate stuff here. So I do have some sample data. I'm going to pull off my local SQL server. So it's just connecting into that, and I've got a schema for my FX stuff. So let's load that in. We are going to use import mode for this, and it's going to just drag that data in. Just give it a second. The measures I use do have quite a big performance impact, but to show it you, I'm having to generate loads of records. So you can see it's bringing in about 3 million sales records here. This is data I've kind of manually generated through SQL Server. But anyway, let's just tidy some of this up. So we have and I'll just show you some of the tables. So we have a currency table that just gives you the currency code and its description. So we got US dollars and Great British pounds. I also generated some random product data off a website. So all this is related to like groceries. So we've got food and drink items and the category associated with that, which when coupled with these sales, give us a data model. So we've got the sale dates, the product they were buying, what currency they purchased it in, the quantity, cost, and the total amount of the transaction. So even though Power BI has detected this as kind of a currency and put pounds in front of it, these are actually dollars because it's a US dollar currency. There are some rows in here to do with Great British pounds, so there's a mixture. Okay, and then now just let's get our relationships going on this. So we have a sales table and a product, so that's fine. We're going to have a currency table, and we're going to just create a relationship between the currency and the currency code like that. We're going to need a date table as well. So I'm going to use a standard one I have in my back pocket, which is created through DAX. And if you Google DAX Data Dimension, you'll probably get the same code. And that will appear on here now. I don't understand. So then we will drag sales date onto dates as part of this. Cool, so now we've got a little bit of a model going on. So to illustrate the problem we've got now is I'm going to just bring on the currency and perhaps the currency name, which is this. So this is Great British pounds, US dollars, and we want to know the total sales. So I'm just going to create a new measure quickly. And I'm going to call it revenue in native currency, say, and I'm going to copy this in case it all goes wrong. So this is a sum of the sale amount, and it's already gone wrong because I didn't call that sales. Okay, so we've got sale and we've got the revenue in the native currency, and here we go. So you can see now, in terms of sales, in Great British pounds, we've got 142 million, so that's a lot of groceries. And then in US dollars, it's got $284 million. But then Power BI is adding those together to come up with 426. But unfortunately, that's a mixture of GBP and US dollars, so that doesn't mean an awful lot. So what we need to do is convert these values into one currency, and that's going to be Great British pounds. So obviously to do that, we need to know the conversion rate between the currencies. And I found it difficult in the past to create a currency conversion table that says on a daily basis what the rate was. In certain organisations where I've worked, finance teams have perhaps provided this, but in other places they haven't. And like, how do you get that on a daily basis? You could set up some sort of web scraping tool, but that will generally only give you today's value. And there are loads of services out there that will charge you for kind of a nice table that you can load every day. But I thought I'll share with you guys a quick way, a free way to do this. So I'm going to just jump onto Google Sheets and create a new Google Sheets. And within Google Sheets, there's a really good function called Google Finance. And you can ask it basically to generate a list of this. So you need to know the right parameters. So we're going to go Great British Pounds to US dollars, and we want to know the price, and we want the data from the 1st January this year until today, and we want it on a daily basis. And just that simple formula gives you a table of the closing values on every single day, all the way up to today, because that's what we asked for. So I'm just going to add another column in here, currency, and give that a US dollar, and tell that to populate all the way down. And the magic now happens is when you go into File and go into Spreadsheet Settings, you can tell it to automatically calculate every hour. So if we do that and save this in the background, without even opening it, will refresh every hour. So then as new days worth of currency exchanges come online, they'll appear at the bottom of this, and it will just carry on forever. So that's really good. So now to get into Power BI, you just need to publish this to the web. Oh, first of all, I'll just save it here. So it's got a real name, and this will have to live in a Google account somewhere. Oh, crap. Go back to that. And then if we go publish to the web, we can tell we just want this sheet 1 published as a web page, publish it, ask you to confirm that, and you get a URL. Now obviously this URL is publicly available, so obviously you don't want any sensitive information in this, but this is pretty unsensitive and you need to know the URL, so in my opinion it's probably pretty safe. This hasn't updated, so this is disappointing. Google Finance Daily. So if I load in that URL, I just want to see what the results are. Okay, so it's working for the moment, so we'll carry on. So now we need to just load another data set into Power BI, and I want to do it quickly before it realizes it's broken. So it's a web source, and we'll give it the URL. And it goes off and loads it, and then we should get Power Query coming up. Here we go. Let me tell it we're interested in table 1, and we're just going to transform it quickly to clean this up slightly. So Power Query is opened up on a different window. Here we go. So first of all, we just need to remove this blank line. We need to promote these to be the column headers. We don't need this column, so we'll just remove it. So we've got currency, we've got date. I think this needs to be a data type. So we'll just change that to be a date. And then we've got the close rates, decimals, and we'll just call it FX rates. Cool. So we can close and apply that, and hopefully we'll get it in the model. So let's jump back into here, look at FX rates, and there we have our daily values. So far, so good. So we just need to add it into the relationships here. So we will do currency code to currency and date to date. For some reason, it's created a two-way relationship there, so we'll put that back to single. Okay, I think this is our data model now. So going back to the report view, we need to create some measures. So the whole point of this is to illustrate the different DAX patterns and the quick ways and slow ways of doing things. So before I got my new book, I would have perhaps done this calculation differently. So I'm going to show you how I would have done it. So you would create something like revenue GBP, and I'm going to call it slow because this is the slow way. And I'll do something like this. I'll do the sum x of the sale table, but I'm going to look up the exchange rate value. So I'm going to use a lookup value function. And we're going to look up based on the value we want to look up, sorry, is the close rate. And to do that, we need to know match the date in the FX rate table to the sale date. And we also need to match the currency in the FX rate table to the currency in the sale table. And then if it doesn't find a match, which it won't do for the Great British Pound values, we'll just give it a 1. So now it's looked up the exchange rate, we can just times that by our total amounts. Is that a nice slow way of doing it? It is. And we'll close off that and press enter. So then if I bring this into the chart, it's taken a while to think about it. But here we go. In Great British Pounds, we've got the same value still, but then we have United States dollars, 284 million, but in pounds, that is 361 million. And then this total is now valid. It is actually pounds. Now you saw that took a moment to process there, and it was over 300 million rows. So not 3 million rows. And there is a quicker way to do this. So the quicker way would be to try and aggregate the data down first before you do the conversion. So by that I mean I'm going to create a new measure, and we're going to call it revenue GBP fast. So we're going to create a variable first, and we're going to call it ag for the aggregated table. And what we're going to do is generate a table that just shows us the sales per day per currency type. So we'll do that first by doing add columns onto a summarize, and we're going to summarize the sale. We're going to summarize the sale by the currency in the currency table and by the date in the date table. We'll then add on to that the sales in native currency, and that is just to be the measure we created before. If I can find it, call it revenue in native currency. And then where the magic happens now, we need to look up the exchange rate. So the exchange rate, instead of doing a lookup value, we're going to calculate the value, and we're going to ask it to bring the selected value back. So the selected value from the FX rates table and the closing value, and it's just as simple as that. You can see here the selected value says it returns the value when there is only one value in the specified column. Otherwise, it returns the alternative result. So if there's no values, it's going to return 1 then, which again will account for the Great British Pound conversions. So hopefully I'm doing this right. Close off that again. Close off that. So then the result becomes easy. The result is the sum x of this aggregated table, and we're going to just times together the sales by the exchange rate, then return that result. Now let's hope I've done that right, and we can test that by seeing if these values are the same. They are. Right, and you'll notice there's a slight difference there, and that'll be due to rounding errors. There are millions of rows here, and in the middle of this measure, we are generating a table. This part of it here generates a table that summarizes it by currency, by date, give us the total revenue, and give us the exchange rate. So the fact we're doing an aggregation in the middle, and then a further aggregation on the report, will account for those small variances. Now, I'd just like to illustrate to you the speed difference of these measures. So if I just delete that visual for the moment and bring in a line graph, And I'll bring in the currency, sorry, the calendar date. And I just want the dates, not a hierarchy. And I can bring in the revenue in the slow way. So here we go. So this is the revenue by day using the expression that's the slower of the two. And I've just created a copy of that visual, and I'm going to swap out the measure for the fast one. So now we've got fast and the slow. I'll just move that down. Okay, so a really good way to see the relative performance is to use the new, fairly new performance analyzer. So if you bring that up, tell it to start recording and tell it to refresh everything. Stop, so you can see the slow by date, sorry, the slow expression, nearly a second to calculate, the fast one, 0.13 seconds. And it's even more apparent when you look in the DAX. So the actual DAX processing time on the fast way was 13 milliseconds, but in the slow way, 670. And the data here is still quite aggregated. So we can now bring in other fields. So if I change this to a area chart, perhaps, and then bring in the product category onto that as a legend, you can see all the different product categories, and that's appeared really quickly, and that's appearing not so quickly. Perhaps it's a bit unfair, make it the same type. So again, we can bring up the performance analyzer. I've lost it. And that's what he returned it. So you can see now it still took about the same time, but then the slow way it's getting slower and slower. So there you go. They have it. There is two ways. So the first thing is important is that Google Sheets method is a really good way and a free way of getting exchange rates into your Power BI report. Once you've set up that spreadsheet, it will never ever go anywhere or refresh itself in the background, and you can have it embedded into your reports and refresh every day. And then the second way, this method of generating the conversion, you can see there's a really slow way and a really fast way, and it just shows you how important and how much power it has in DAX and in how you optimize that. This Power BI file will be available after the talk, and feel free to download it and play with the measures and everything. I think I've reduced the data set down for the size, so it won't be 3 million, it might be a tenth of that, but then you will still see the performance impacts on that. So Sheva, with that, I think I can hand back to you to see if there's any questions.
Excellent. Yeah, thanks, Lewis. That was quite informative. I think a lot of the comments have been around the Google Sheets and the generation of that data and the FX rates, and I guess even myself didn't know how to do that, or that was even possible. But I think some of the questions that have come in are things like, what other things have you noticed that you can do with Google Sheets? Is there anything else that that you think would be good?
So with the Google Sheets specifically, that Google Finance function doesn't just cover currencies, it covers all like financial instruments, so you can get stock prices and loads of different stuff off it.
Right, wow.
So
okay.
that can be quite powerful. Yeah, like I was literally, I had a contract and I had to figure out a way to do exchange rates, and they weren't willing to pay a load of money for an API. So I was like, okay, how am I going to do this? Am I going to have to type that number in every day?
Yeah.
And fortunately, I found that and saved the day with that, really.
And the Google Sheet saves in your own sort of directory of your own personal account, which then is always available that way as well. Yeah.
Like, you can create a Google Sheet, a Google account with a corporate email address, can't you? And you can just live against that forever.
Yes, brilliant. Yeah, really enjoyed that, and that's the power of DAX. I think that's what you were trying to tell me yesterday before showing me the actual presentation, and yeah, I can see the difference in the times. Are massive there. And I know Carlos, who was here last week, would be impressed with that as well, in terms of optimization and performance. So there you go. So thanks for that, Lewis. In terms of the book, is it worth getting the book for people who want to learn DAX?
Yeah, and then especially if you're having to do a lot of time intelligence, it is really heavy on that. But then there are some quite good patterns in there. There's stuff around identifying new customers or returning customers, or customers that have gone away for a year then come back. And that is a question I get asked quite commonly as well. So yeah, there is some good stuff in there.
Cool. And just to go over the session, your DAX introduction to DAX course that you're looking at that you're doing next week. Can you give the guys a bit of information of what's entailed in that?
Sure, yeah. So through Power BI support, we are putting on training days. There is one next week. What I kind of focus on is the stuff or the preliminary stuff you need to get through that Microsoft exam. So all the kind of the DAX that's mentioned in there. So we do sort of really quite basic, but then quite quickly you do get into more complicated stuff. So you do learn the difference between like sum and SumX.
Yeah.
And then you do some time intelligence and understanding the importance of a date dimension, and then take it from there, really. Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent. Yeah. I mean, it sounds like a really good session. And those who are looking to get into DAX and want to work a lot more with DAX, you know, we suggest the book and we suggest get involved and get onto Lewis's course coming up next week. We will be releasing some more dates and some more sessions over the next sort of couple of months, and then more in the new year as well. Okay, so thanks for that, Lewis. Really great presentation again. So I'm going to share my screen just to go over what we've got coming up in our session next week. Actually, not next week, next episode in 2 weeks' time. So we brought on the guest, we brought on Adi. So next week we have a special guest in, Tina Mina. So Tina is a freelance and a contract Power BI developer, has been in the industry for a long time and does some really good stuff. She's got a really good blog. I was on it yesterday. I think there was a bit of an issue with her site, but I think she's getting that back up and running. But she's got some really good blogs on some really complex and you know, business-minded sort of challenges that she's faced, and she's blogged those out and put that on her website. But we'll give you more information on that next time around. And Ben, hopefully, he does like his updates and his features, you know, in Power BI. So we'll get him to go through some of the features that we talked about earlier in the session. And next session, we will be announcing the competition winners, which is something I'm really excited about. I've sort of entered myself as well. So if nothing, no one's better than mine. I'm taking all the prizes. But then episode 6, we've also got SPC reporting. I don't know if any of you know about that, but something really important and really, you know, in the industry today, a lot of people want to know, you know, about SPC and how to report on it. And there's no actual visual in Power BI to be able to report on that. But we've got a guest coming on the episode 6, which is in around 4 weeks' time, going over that. And then we'll be focusing the second half of that session on a user relationship function as well, and how, you know, really we can utilize that as well. Okay, right. Thank you guys for joining me today. It's been an absolutely fantastic session, you know, with Adi in the first half, showing us Powerups and how to embed that. That was a really sort of informative session there, and how quickly and easily we can sort of get going with writing back data to Power BI. And I'm pretty sure the sort of you know, all the literature around Powerups is just as sort of detailed as Power BI, and we'll be able to find that on the Microsoft sites. But I'll get Adi to send us some links on where he picked up all his skills from as well, so you can go ahead and build something for yourself as well. And finally, thanks to Lewis for his session as well on FX rates and DAX patterns as well. Guys, if you'd like to unmute yourselves and say bye to everybody, we can come to a close. Adi, you there? Thank you for your time.
I am, yeah. Thank you very much. It was
thank you, everyone. Yeah, Lewis, thank you very much as well.
Cheers. Yes.
Yeah.
Cheers.
So hopefully see you guys next time. All the data will be available on our website later on today, including the video and the files for download as well. Okay, stay safe. See you guys soon.
Cheers. Bye.